up, guys? James from Bolt Bros here. In the words of Harbaugh in the post-game conference, great win for the Chargers. So let's go ahead and just do a quick recap of this game. Talk a little bit about some stats about Justin Herbert, and maybe we'll talk just a little bit about the Ravens game too. So big game ahead, but a big win that just happened for the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Bolt Bros, let's go.
Bolt Bros!
All right, guys. Once again, James from Bolt Bros here. Appreciate all the love and support. Please like this video. Subscribe to this channel if you have not. We always appreciate your love and support. And throw some comments below about the game versus the Bengals. What a dramatic game, guys. Once again, Jim Harbaugh, great win. And one thing he did is he gave a shout out to the team right after saying that in the post-game show or a post-game conference. He did a phenomenal job of basically giving shout outs to players, and he does that all the time. You got to love that about Jim Harbaugh and just who he is as a coach. And bottom line, what an amazing game all around. Now, I want to just pivot just a little bit. I'll talk a little bit more about Jim Harbaugh here shortly, but I want to pivot a little bit more to talk about Justin Herbert and how he is as a quarterback for this team and what he's done. I saw this tweet and I thought it was a phenomenal tweet just to kind of throw out there. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert is the third most game-winning drives in the entire NFL since 2020. Herbert has 15 game-winning drives during that span. Only Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins have more than Herbert. Justin Herbert is clutch. That is big, right? And the bigger part of it is that there's actually even more depth to that 15 wins that could have been much bigger for this team and made Justin Herbert look way even more elite. It's kind of crazy to see Kirk Cousins has 15 or at least more than 15 game-winning drives. I always felt like he's been a little bit off on those game-winning based drives, but bottom line, Justin Herbert is clutch. And you saw what he did last night. It was a very Michigan-esque type thing that he does with J.J. McCarthy, where, hey, man, I need you to make this drive and make this drive happen. And he basically came through. Justin Herbert made the absolute dime throws to make sure that this game could be put to bed finally after a couple missed field goals too. Once again, big game all around. Big win for this game. When I was at the watch party with the Bolt Pride 602 guys, I was banging on the tables saying, miss the kick, miss the kick, miss the kick. And it worked twice. So, hey, shout out to me. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I got the win for the Chargers. But bottom line, Justin Herbert's absolutely clutch. And I want to just emphasize one other thing about Justin Herbert. Here's actually his breakdown of his 15 game-winning drives that he's had. He's basically been a phenomenal quarterback in finding ways to get this team back to win games. These are all his 15-win games right here are all there with the results and everything too. Now, there's also 11 fourth-quarter comebacks. Now, why am I going to emphasize that? Well, Justin Herbert's found a lot of ways to basically put this team in front in the fourth quarter to be able to win the game. The defense hasn't found a way to win the game for him. And that's been such a frustrating part of Justin Herbert. That is something, and it's not on Justin Herbert by any means. It's basically on the exact team. The team didn't back him up on what he did on field. There were so many times, and I can almost feel like every Chiefs game that we played, we found a way to get kind of up late in the fourth, and the defense basically does not find a way to close it out for him. That 15 game-winning drives could be actually much higher. I would say at least 5 to 6 of those fourth quarter comebacks should have been wins, but they found ways to falter. Defense did not find a way to close out the game and back Justin Herbert. So I'm emphasizing Justin Herbert's a phenomenal quarterback. Now we have a defense that finds ways to close games out. And that's kind of what happened within this game. Now, to talk a little bit about Justin Herbert in his post game, he even talked a little bit about that, like in a sense where he's like, hey, look, all phases need to basically back each other up, and special teams, offense, defense, it takes a team to basically get a win, right? It's not just on Justin Herbert. If you really look at like the Bengals right now, he had a failure of basically special teams to not kick some field goals to potentially go up in the game. He basically found a way where the defense failed on him to not close out a game. That's been kind of the mantra of the Bengals all season. It's been like on Joe Burrow to basically play hero ball, put everything on his shoulders to make it happen. and it just has not been clicking for him. So the roles almost have been reversed with the Chargers. The charging is kind of gone in a way. This was one of those games while we were watching the game, everybody in the room kept saying, "We've seen this before, guys. We've seen this before." And it started going to that direction again. But guess what? We found a way to close it out. Justin Herbert has a defense that could find a way to make the plays necessary to close out games, not basically find a way to lose it. So it's a big, big progress with this team. And shout out to Justin Herbert, man. He played his heart out in this game, and it was phenomenal to be able to see. Love to be able to see it. First half, Justin Herbert was great. He even talked about in the post game, we got to find a way to basically keep the pedal to the metal, is the way that I'll word it as. He's got to find a way to basically play 4 quarters of ball, not 2 quarters of ball. And you need to basically ball out all game, not just basically a half of a game. That was one scary, scary part of this game. We only scored 10 points in the second half. You got to do better than that. We had them completely washed out by halftime. We let them come on back in. Now, once again, I do think Vegas was calling just a little bit, but bottom line, we got to find a way to basically close games out better, find ways to keep the pedal to the metal, not just play soft. In the second half, you got to play a full 4 quarters. You win games in the fourth quarter, just like what they did with this game with the last drive. And once again, shout out to Ladd McConkey, man. Just big catches after big catches. There was one missed throw that Justin Herbert had in the fourth quarter that he did miss Ladd McConkey, which I think that was really on Justin Herbert kind of rushing the pass. But bottom line, Ladd McConkey came back from that, found a way to basically just make 2 big clutch catches to put this team into position to eventually get that J.K. Dobbins touchdown. I thought he was going to lay down, wait for the field goal, but then he's like, "Hey, man, I can go to the touchdown. Let's just go get it done." So right move, I think, in my opinion, to make that happen. And the defense finding a way to close out that game. No Hail Mary, no Chicago Bears type situation at all allowed for us. And, man, big win for the Chargers, and definitely puts the Chargers in a great position for the playoffs. Currently at the 5 seed right now. That's something I will chat about here a little bit later on. Now, I'm going to just say one thing, man. Thank you, Jim Harbaugh. Thank you, Jim Harbaugh. Like, bottom line, Jim Harbaugh basically has been an absolute, oh my gosh, revelation for this team. I don't know, change of this team, culture change of this team. Now, go back to BS, our last head coach. I remember when he came in, he said he wants to basically make a team where it generates more head coaches. He wants to create a culture where everybody's very united. He wants to create a culture that they're a winning culture. I think that BS had the right idea. I just don't know he had the execution on how to do it. That's the big thing. We got adults in the room, like what we've said here on the podcast. Now we got Jim Harbaugh. We got basically Jesse Minter. We got Greg Roman. We got such a deep coaching staff, top to bottom, of everybody very united with this team. And once again, Jim Harbaugh brings that winning philosophy. Some of the tweets during the game, it's like, Skip Bayless was talking about how, man, Jim Harbaugh is going to make anybody a winner. He's going to find a way to make them winners, bottom line. He did it with Michigan. He did it with Stanford. He did it with San Diego University. He did it with the Niners. He did it with everybody. He found ways to make teams winners. And what he has done in such a short amount of time with 7 games still to play this year, we're looking good. 7-3. That's phenomenal. Like, that is phenomenal. And this is not even the full capacity Jim Harbaugh team, in my opinion. This is kind of inheriting some players, and there's still going to be some shifting around, obviously, every single year. But this is phenomenal to watch. Jim Harbaugh has done a phenomenal job from top to bottom, even within the organization, to be able to generate a winning culture, a culture that you're probably going to get some people that, if Jesse Minter might walk, he might walk and go to be a head coach somewhere else. He's basically created a culture that is correct for a NFL franchise like the Chargers. And, once again, thank you, Jim Harbaugh, for what you have brought to the Chargers. And we found a way to not Charger this one out, because guaranteed last coaching staff would have let that one go. And a lot of the players even talked about Joey Bosa, Derwin James. They even talked about it, that they have seen it. Joey Bosa's seen it many, many times where that could have been a very losable type game, but finding a way to eke it out and go out there and make it happen. And what a beautiful way to end that game with a J.K. Dobbins. Beautiful touchdown to end it too. I'm sure the stadium was absolutely rocking after that. Even to say my watch party, we were hooting and hollering. It was great. It was great. But once again, big win, right? Big win. And Jim Harbaugh, man, you love hearing him every single time go out there and talk. I mean, he's just an absolute, he gives shot out to everybody in the team. He knows it's all phases. Everybody on the team matters to be able to make this team win. And he is just an absolute motivator, just a leader of men, a guy that is just a leader of the people, basically. I mean, the worm has turned, right? That's one thing that Jim Harbaugh used early on. The worm has turned, and really, we found a way to beat a very good team, probably one of the best offenses that we have actually played against this year. And the worm has turned, because it could have easily gone to that point of, holy smokes, we could have lost that game in a very Charger fashion, but we found a way to put it together. You know, one thing that Jim Harbaugh said and really stuck out to me in his postgame is he said, "We are at our best when our best was needed." And bottom line, that's what it's all about. This is a character building type win for the Chargers. This was a win to be able to get this team to that next level and to have that experience of going out there and just grind out a win, find a way to make it happen, be your best when the best was needed. I think that's a great quote all around. So I love to be able to see that with Jim Harbaugh and basically just being an absolute leader out there for this team. And oh gosh, you got to love that Jim Harbaugh's with this team. All the media hype and everything too was phenomenal. I'm glad to be able to see the Chargers go out there and find a way to win this one. Now we're going to be going into the Harbaugh right now. So that game is big against the Ravens. I mean, Ravens basically came off of a loss. They are kind of desperate to make it happen. We are at the 5th seed right now in the wild card race. I mean, we're, I think, about 93% chance now that we're going to make the playoffs. So we're in a great position at this point. But if you find a way to beat the Ravens coming up on Monday Night Football, yet again, another primetime game, and you make another statement type game, people are not going to be sleeping on the Chargers from this point on. The secret is out at that point. So big game ahead against the Ravens. We'll obviously talk about that later on in this week with our lives and also kind of our pregame, postgame type live shows, and also kind of our preview show too on Friday. So a lot of good things coming ahead for this team. Very excited to be able to see this next matchup on Monday night. Andrew and I will be at that game. So look out for us too at the Ravens-Chargers Monday night game. Big game all around, guys. So once again, I want to hear from you. What are some of the things that you saw from this Bengals game? I mean, there's a lot to uncover here. Players are making clutch plays. Wide receivers are getting better. I mean, bottom line, the defense was looking pretty good for the most part, but found a way to be their best when the best was needed. And that's what matters, to find a way to close games out. So I want to hear from you. Throw some comments on below about the game. Once again, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you're not. Once again, 7-3 Chargers. Can't go wrong with that, boys. So once again, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charge